particular
Well,
artist?
I don't
Reality
even.
television, those people aren't typically actors, so you're not dealing with a medium that's working with artists in front of the camera. You're dealing with more of the artistry and the production behind the camera. And so even capturing somebody's life through a camera, the people behind the cameras, and to conceptualize how to entertain an audience in a particular way and how to strike certain chords in their being. Well, there's a particular art to that. That's more on the production side of things,
Right.
as opposed to what's going on in front of the camera, which
I mean, because most
which
people
is
they're dramatic. They're creating drama in reality TV more than I would say a story or acting. To me, it's more. Well, I don't want to judge, but it, when you're telling a story or creating an illusion, like you said, you're striking chords and you're looking in some way to help humanity, change humanity, get people to look at different things. Reality TV it's more like drama of just watching a bunch of fighting or arguing or whatever it is going on in front of you without any real meaning or method to the madness to me.
well, there's a method to that madness for sure, and I'm not here to you know to judge the medium, but that will evolve into a more refined aspect of our entertainment. And it is evolving. I mean, and it'll bring us back to ourselves in a particular way that only that medium can do. I mean, it's like it's you might feel that it's cheap because it's cashing in on our own voyeuristic, need to feel like maybe we're better than these people. And maybe for some people that might be dramatic, for you maybe, but for some others it might be funny, But you can't deny the fact that in particular moments in some of those shows, and I watch some of them, like the one where they build the house for the people.
Mm-hmm.
That's an extraordinary show, and I think
Oh,
they're
that's completely different.
I think they're tapping in to an instinctual aspect of our humanity with that show, in that it's our natures to do this.
Mm-hmm.
Yet we live in a society that doesn't allow us to do that. So they're sort of filling in the gap for us and allowing us to vicariously exist in a very giving way through other people when we ourselves aren't in a position to give, because either we're generally, maybe we're not financially viable, or maybe we work 14 hours a day, or maybe we don't have the time to give to our communities or our neighbors. Maybe we don't even know our neighbors. But here's an example of something that's quite natural and quite healthy and quite wonderful, is to create a home for somebody.
Yes.
And so we're able to feel our own need to do that for others maybe, and it fills a gap, it fills a space for us. So, and they know that. And they know that even their overt, cheesy smiles and their maybe disingenuous emotions will forgive all that, because at the core of it is a real need to share.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's why the show that's why people are capitalizing and expanding on that show and creating their own, help somebody out. It's been that's one reality show that's created quite a phenomenon where people are actually like, hey, they're doing it on TV. I could do this for my neighbors. Communities are rising up and saying, hey, let's help so-and-so at the end of the block who had a rough year because she was in the hospital. Let's all get together and build her house for her,
Yeah, yeah. I mean, well, that's good reality TV. And I mean, I guess I'm not going to say that every reality show. I don't want to judge, but that's a good example, a nice, sweet example. But I mean, in all fairness, all reality TV that's not what it brings to the table.
Well, it's and when we're talking about the art, we're talking about the upper echelon of experience. And when you start talking about programming that's not at the upper echelon, then you're talking about programming that hasn't figured out exactly where it fits in. It's missing beats. It doesn't really understand enough yet, and so we're not going to call those art. But when you're talking about an artist, or you're talking about somebody who's realized their potential, and in the moment within their skill set, now you're talking about words that you can put great in front of. Great actor, great painter, great dancer, great filmmaker. These are conscientious efforts to take people on a journey, and they know exactly what they're doing, and they know exactly where they're taking us, and they're showing us a part of ourselves that we ourselves might not take a look at without their guidance. And they're entertaining us as well. They're giving us food for thought. Whether they're tapping into our deeper realms and communicating to a part of ourselves that we don't even know, and those are the best films. Like you just come out of the film and you're like, wow, what just happened to me?
Right.
I just feel differently about myself and the world around me, and that must have been a good film because I'm still living it as I walk out the door.
For me, Avatar.
Yeah. Well, it's a beautiful film.
Oh,
right?
it was beautiful. That's the most beautiful thing. Oh, gosh, I love Avatar.
But if you look at all the artists that put their energy into it, and if you look at the man at the helm and his vision, it's not an accident. He goes about creating things conscientiously, and he knows how he'd like us to feel. And my feeling is he probably is not even content with what he did. And as he looks at the film, he's probably seeing all sorts of holes that he couldn't fill in the time that he had. And if he had to do over again, he'd go in there and he'd do it again. And the next one that we see out of him will be that much better. But I'm sure because he is an artist, he's not... When an artist does his work, and he's functioning on a high level, we cannot perceive the holes that he may be trying to fill because he's existing. So for us, whatever he does is enough. But for him, he's got particular aspirations within and requirements for himself that he would like to attain. And he, looking at his own work, can see the holes that are there, just like a painter. It works that way for an actor. It works that way for a filmmaker, director, writer. When he hears his own work read back, and he can say, oh, my God, there's a space there. But the audience, reading it or experiencing that is like, wow, this is great. This is really cool. It's wonderful, wonderful. But because the audience are not going to be able to perceive those sorts of spaces. I think Brando collected an Oscar for one of his films, and he was like, I don't know why you're giving this to me. It's I've missed so many moments in this piece. He was like, almost like, I can't believe you give it, because he could see the spaces. But because our experience of him in what he did do was so direct, we didn't know what the heck he's talking about.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.